Today we'll be replacing this on my 2011 Volvo XC70. This is my new part, and it can be located right in here. There's only 2 bolts holding it in. Some websites you'll see this posted as a sway bar link or a track arm. The tools you need to do this job are either the tire iron that came with your car or some kind of 4-way to get your wheel off. Obviously your jack and jack stand. You can use either a 15mm wrench, or I prefer using a socket with a ratchet tool. It's helpful to have your extension to get into the hard to reach places, a hammer to knock out stuff, and then I like having my breaker bar as well, because I live in Michigan, which is why I also needed some penetrating oil and then brake cleaner to clean that off, because we're working with rubber parts. It's also helpful to have a screwdriver to get stuff to line back up at the end. First bolt we're removing is this one. And you'll just have to back that one out, and then the second one is up top here. My car thankfully isn't too rusty, but I did have to use some penetrating oil on here, and I've got my breaker bar, so. Alright, now that we got this first one out, we're going to go up and get that second one. As you can see, there's not a lot of room to get that top one, so once you get it going, it's best to have just a ratchet and socket extension on there. Alright, now that we've got both the bolts out, we are going to go ahead and just knock this out. There we go. Right, since we used some of that penetrating oil to get everything, we are going to go ahead and spray everything down with some brake parts cleaner. Alright, and that's because we're working with rubber bushings. Next thing we're going to want to do is spray both of those bolts too. Alright, so now I've got to the part where we are going to put our new piece on. If you've forgotten which way it's oriented, you can either just go look at the other side of the car, or this opened up channel will face towards the rear, and the flat side will go towards the front. I don't know about the old one, but the new one says front right on it. So we're going to put the subframe part on first. Now with that one loosely positioned, we'll try to get the bottom to go in as well. If you find yourself having a hard time getting this bottom hole to align, you can just grab a screwdriver and wiggle your way around till the holes line up. Once your holes have been lined up a little bit better, just got to persuade it to go on in. Then all we got to do is tighten it up. Okay, got that one tight. I'll tighten up the top one. Okay, so I have used my bar here to tighten down the bottom one very tight, and the top one up here pretty tight as well. So now what we actually need to do is, you can either put your wheel back on and lower it down, and then you're just gonna have to crawl in here and try to tighten it up as best you can. But I'm actually just gonna lower it onto some blocks of wood and then tighten it down, because it's pretty hard to get a ratchet back in there once your car has been lowered back down. But we need to put some load back into the suspension to be able to tighten it down all the way. Okay, we've got it lowered down onto some wood underneath the main control arm, so we are ready to try and tighten this back up. And just a helpful trick for getting back up in that spot. If you're having a hard time getting your breaker bar to fit in, you can get like most of a turn, but can't get the next one going. Remember, you can just take this off, do a quarter turn, and then your hex is lined up differently now, so you can fit it on there even better. And you see, I obviously can't tighten it down that way. So we do half a turn, or a quarter turn, I mean. And now we can fit back in up at the top, and you can give it another crank. But now we are all tightened up, ready to put the wheel on, and good to go.